You're walking in the woods. There's no one around and your phone is dead. Out of the corner of your eye, you spot him.
Hello, my name is Graham, and I'm here with one of my GMs, Orf, and today we're going to be talking about the scenario None More Black.
One.
How you doing, Orf?
I'm fine, thank you.
Right. Yeah, I'm good. So this is probably one of the better ones in this book as a scenario itself. You want to give us the premise of it?
Well, the general idea is that there is a new drug out on the street that is essentially killing people. And the investigators, the party, either has to kind of follow up to that and hopefully lead up to a climactic confrontation.
Yep, this is found in Doors to Darkness, Chaosium's beginner's scenario book, and this, yeah, I say this was probably one of the better ones that we quite liked. Well, first of all, how did you find it in tone and that sort of thing?
Well, I particularly liked its tone. It can be moved at any era. It is presented as in 1920s, but it can be either modern or even future if you want to take it there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a pretty nice tone. You get some pretty nice clues, and the whole, let's say, mysticism that surrounds the facts that are happening is, I think, nice.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of scope for good tension with the night gaunts which come in and the sort of oppressiveness around the campus, the Mystonic. It should be all sort of tie into quite a nice atmosphere. It might be a bit keeper dependent to sell that because it doesn't really go into kind of mood and tone really itself. But the sort of ideas it's trying to play with are quite dark in places, especially the stealth aspect, being stalked, always being watched, and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like that.
I particularly like that, and I can say that I didn't use it enough.
Well, you were very new when you ran this, so yeah, live and learn. As I said, you might want to run this again someday, or like today, you were saying even. So yeah, you definitely enjoyed it, and I think this is one we enjoyed a lot. I think this and Servant of the Lakes was the strongest of the five.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree on that. They are the most well structured, also, you could say, at least
easier to follow. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that easier to follow, not well structured. That's more.
Yeah, I mean, for ease and access and layout, I think this one's pretty good. My only problem, I would say, is it's again not a beginner scenario. It doesn't do too well a job of fleshing out the university, and that's a bit of an issue. We'll get to that when we come to the second act sort of thing, or first act even. But it was easy to follow, and I think it doesn't hide anything from you. Everything's in plain sight and in order, so it does go quite well. There is also a lot of options and tools you're given that you can bring in as things go along, like what you call them,
the mob, unfortunately.
The mob, and
yeah.
It gives you options for the night gaunts. The night gaunts should not be an option; that should be standard. That should always be in there. And I think the mobsters should also be compulsory when you play this. Without these two aspects, I think this would be a very, very bland scenario.
Yeah, they are kind of the driving force behind everything. I mean, you can use both of them, either the night gaunt or Seamus. Was it his name?
Yeah, Seamus or she. Or Sheena.
Seamus or she, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very Irish name. Yeah, it's these things I think are actually pretty essential to the actual scenario. I think you should even be mobsters yourself, as in playing mobsters, not part of the university or the story. That would give you a stronger motive for finding out what's going on, and it would make the ending a lot stronger as well.
Yeah, actually, that's true. I never considered that.
It would give you motive to go into the slaughterhouse.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can drag very easily the players of the slaughterhouse as a GM using the night gaunt or Seamus or Seamus, well, whatever his name is, potato.
Seamus or she.
Yeah, but yeah, it will almost never be voluntarily. Let's go over there and take on a drag cartel on our own.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy thinking the players would want to step into there. But anyway, we'll go in order first. So the premise is pretty good. It's a standard setup. You've got a new drug on the campus. You've got to find out what's going on, and one of your friends or a colleague or someone's turned up dead. Walter Resnick has turned up dead. 4 days, no one's seen him, and he's found in his house dead. It does give you options for starting, as in you're the one that find him, which was what we did, I think.
Yeah, I think that should be the de facto on this situation. I mean, you want the players to have the first contact with it.
Yeah, I think so.
They just gotta break in an apartment that the police has already gone into. Maybe that could play in better if they were outlaws, though.
Well, how I would play it if they were part of the mob was I'd make Walter Resnick one of the pushers, and they basically break in and find his body like that. But because he was a user as well as a pusher, he's obviously dead, and that would be the start of the scenario. And then you could have the cops always being almost like a sheepdog, pushing them in directions and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I quite like the opening. It's quite. It reminds me of something, and I can't remember what the sort of opening, the sort of dead body in the find. But anyway, this scenario is a dead ringer for a book called Stormfront, which by Jim Butcher, which deals with the exact same scenario as this. And if you're going to run this, I would definitely go read that book. It's the first one in the Dresden Files series, and it's a very good book, and I think you get a lot from that if you want to run this. But once you're on the case and you're there, the scenario gives you clues rather than locations to what to follow up, which was a bit of an odd choice, if I'm honest. But what did you think of that?
Well, it does give you. I think it just gives you 3 locations in total: the university, the pusher's house, what was his name, Jacob's house, and the slaughterhouse.
I think then the slaughterhouse as well, or Dover's house as well. But I think the initial investigation should be and is around the campus before anything else, and it's scant on that location. It doesn't give you a lot, and there's huge scope to frighten a new GM. If someone goes, I want to go to the pharmacy department, I want to go to the biology department, I want to do this, I want to do that, and it gives you nothing, no names, no layouts, no descriptions.
That can get very quickly out of hand.
Yeah.
And if you run the scenario as is, you would need the whole of what is it called? H.P. Lovecraft's Arkham.
Miskatonic University, yeah.
It's a very hefty book.
Yeah,
loads of information in there.
Yeah, it's a tome. You can learn it if you want to, and you could really breathe a life into this. It does cover a lot and goes into quite a lot of depth. But yeah, just for a one-shot scenario, I think that's probably pushing it.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no, that wouldn't even register as a one-shot if you count in all the people want to actually explore Miskatonic University. Then it's no.
Yeah, I think you'd have to focus on a couple of the sort of faculties, like the biology and the pharmacy and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you could even move it away from that. You don't necessarily need to have some of the Miskatonic University people or anything like in there. You can, even if you move it in another city, nothing really changes with the campus and all that. It just you need to set up an atmosphere of people not being out and afraid, and kind of a quarantine thing, much like we're having now.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you have been to university, you could easily put in your own university just from memory. It's something I usually do. It's like, I'll tell you about the hallways and that sort of thing of the places I've been. So if you've been to university, it's probably easier. But it does give you the glass bottles, the odd behaviour, and the black tongue to kind of go off of first as avenues. I think that's it, on the black as well. I don't think these are that effectual to finding out anything, really, because the bottles don't give you anything really, other than there's glass bottles in Resnick's room as well as the pusher's house that are the same.
You could potentially use them as a lead towards Rogers. That is going to lead you to Dover and the slaughterhouse, essentially. But yeah, from their own, they don't. They're just there to be look at this.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
The black tongue is probably the strongest one in the odd behaviour, because you can spot the other pushers and the other users through them. I suppose you can with the glass bottles as well, but less so. You could maybe scatter them across the campus, and a couple of groups of kids with the odd behaviour of the black tongue, or have some of the faculty members mention it, that some of the kids have it, and that could lead you in there. But I think the investigation is probably the weakest part of it. When it comes to running this, you maybe have to flesh that out. What makes it good is the introduction of the mob at this point, because you're being stalked, pretty much.
Yep, you're being stalked by 2 different parties.
Yeah.
The mob and the Night Gaunts.
And I think this is where you should bring in the Night Gaunts. You should have someone just fall out of the air or just be snatched away while you're talking to them. straight up, just they're gone like that, and then it just adds another level, and it starts to bring in that sort of thing. I think you went with roles, and we never spotted Seamus for a long, long time.
I mean, I wanted to set up that somebody is trading you.
Yeah.
And, I think he came up to you after the Nightgun attacked and pulled Rogers up.
Yeah, I think that's how you worked it. I think we just missed or failed a ton of spot hiddens to see him, so you just have to walk him out.
I had planned for just one, actually, if I remember correctly, but you pursued it after and wanted to circle around the university and do stuff like that, and you failed every other spot hiddens.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shame, but Seamus is a good character, and when he's brought into it, I think you said you disguised him as a reporter or something as well, a photographer. Something like that.
I think it was either a reporter or a private investigator. I think it was a private investigator, yeah.
Yeah, so that's another way to do it. I think that's not necessary though. It was decent. We fell for it, and then he sort of broke ranks later. But I think him being a forceful rival, walking about, like say you're going up to a couple of kids and you're talking to them, then he appears, or he's talking to them before you get there, and he walks off when he sees you, that sort of thing, and he sort of leads you down that sort of way. He's always just either right in front of you or just behind you in your investigation. Then you might want to like talk to him, that sort of thing, and then the Night Gaunts will maybe grab him, or grab a student, or Rogers as you did.
Yeah, I didn't have to use him all that much. He was more of a background character.
Yeah, definitely.
I ran it.
And I think the scenario writes him like that as well, and I think that's a damn shame, because I think he really sells and pushes the story forward more than anything else, really. The Night Gaunts are cool, but once they're used or shown, there's not a lot you can do with them other than kill them, watch them, or hide from them, sort of thing.
No. Whenever you reveal the Night Gaunts as what they are, you just have to drag them over to the slaughterhouse to end it. Else it becomes we have to kill this thing, and then introduce even more Night Gaunts, and then it becomes a serious problem.
Yeah, they zero in and focus hard on them, so they need to be in the background. The snatching things up and having them fall out of the sky though is pretty fun, especially if you're like talking to police and he's just like lifted out there like away from you and dropped like 2 minutes later. He comes screaming down to the ground, the car on the way down, that sort of thing. It's pretty grim stuff, and I think you can really sell it well. I mean, Dovers should be using them oppressively to stop the mob from attacking him, and it's a problem that Seamus would have to solve before he made a move, because he couldn't show himself or be open about who he was until Dover's demons were dealt with. I think that's one of the things that it kind of does go into how to use them, but it really needs to stress that you should be using them quite a lot. And it's the only reason why the mob... I mean, it's the mob. I mean, they deal with governments and police and stuff like that. They're not going to care about some kid unless he's got some really strong sort of backup. I mean, it's one mob guy turning around. I mean, they could probably muster, 50 guys with, like, Thompson guns or something like that. And just blow him away. Or just rig his car or his house to blow up, set him on fire, something. The mob should be brutal and ruthless, and they're sending one guy kicking around going, "Oh, what's going on here?" And it doesn't really, it doesn't strike the sort of right tone for the mob, really.
Yeah, maybe it could culminate to that, because the way I perceived it, at least in running it, was that it was just happening. It was just starting to happen. It hadn't expanded all that much yet for the mob to actually take notice, and but it could culminate to that, for Oshimus to just call for 50 mobsters, as you said, to.
Yeah, well, that gets to one of the solutions of it. The second act, though, basically you track down Paul Rogers, one of the pushers, and you basically break into his house. Did you think that was decent, or was it too easy? Or
well, it is too easy, but again, it is a maybe something that you want to have in your game, something that the players need to or can very easily go there and find something out, get a bone.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's fairly standard fare. The sort of break in and search around is okay to kind of deal with in that. I just don't think it's ramping up enough. He's not that interesting in my book, unless he was one of the blackheads. I don't think he is he?
No, he's just a pusher. I don't think he's even using it himself because he knows it's
that's
highly
right.
addictive.
Yeah, so he's like just pushing it on other people. Now, it does say that the police have nothing on Rogers or anyone else because it's not a known substance. I think that's
Well, technically, it contains alcohol, but as it says, it's permitted in some cases, so it's not.
Yeah, I think because it's killing people, the police might be able to like put something on them, or be a little bit more forthright. I mean, if you put bleach in something and it started killing people, they'd take notice, even though bleach is legal. You know what I mean? So if like all these people keep turning up with this substance, it's like, oh, it's fine, we can't do anything about that. But it's killing people. Oh well, they shouldn't take it. Yeah, they might get a little angry. And back then, the police weren't exactly by the book. Shall we say? Again, I think the tone of the police should be a little bit more. They should be scared of the Night Gaunts to investigate. The Night Gaunts should be the overall oppression on the whole town. Really. Rumors about the Night Gaunts could be nice as well. I don't think it does give you any.
No, I don't think you get any. The only thing you get is for the players to see a shadowy figure under the light and stuff like that. Watching from the corners and
like say again, if the Night Gaunts like picked up a detective and just dropped him right on a police car outside the police office or something like that, or the mayor's house, and there's that don't mess with me sort of like, oh, the police are actually scared of this guy, not the fact that they won't investigate if they're scared of him. I think that would be way stronger. I mean, I like this scenario. I think it's just it doesn't push it far enough. It's like one of these scenarios which is really, really good. It just doesn't knock it up to 11 enough for me.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Well, it also got some problems in its finale. But
we'll get to that. But these things are solved by the Night Gaunts being oppressive, really. I mean, it is a good scenario, and it just it waffles a little bit, and it could be doing like it goes into depth at the start about the father of Dover. It's like, I really don't care about this, really.
Well, I liked it. I mean, it's some nice backstory over there. You never know when players are going to ask about that.
Yeah, you want to talk about the deity involved in this? You really like Yib Sidil, or what he's called?
Yib Sidil. I can't pronounce his name.
Yeah, I think the T is silent. I'm not sure. Well,
oh, how did you get that?
I don't know. It sounds better. I don't know. I'll have to look it up on YouTube and find out someone pronouncing them. There's always someone like that. You want to just tell everyone what that's about?
Well, it's a thing kind of deity, you could say, living in the dreamlands, watching the future and the past and what's happening now. It's kind of vague, you could say. He produces the black,
the drug,
the drug and the gimmick, you could say, of the scenario.
Yeah, I would say it's a good gimmick though. It really works for me.
Though I have never encountered someone that actually wants to taste it, and I don't see why anyone would want to taste it, especially after finding out it kills.
No, this is something Rogers could do. He could spike someone's food or drink, being spiteful, if you piss him off or something like that. Having him disappear on a push bike is really not very thrilling, which it does tell you to do. But have him being like, a bit shifty and a bit in their face, knowing that he's pretty much untouchable. Because there'll be like Night Gaunts about.
Working pretty well with his girlfriend that's working over in a cafe. But supposedly the players will go over there and ask about him.
I don't think we did we?
No, you completely skipped that because he died before you.
Oh, that's right. He was picked up and dropped.
He died when you met him. Yeah.
Which is fine. I think it's like he should be like cocky and all the rest of it. But if he starts talking, the Night Gaunts should target him. For sure. It's like everyone should be on their fucking hit list. And nervous about that. But he could spike someone's drink or food or anything like that in the cafe if anyone eats at the cafe and maybe he knocks a plate or something. It could be quite fun or cool. And I think the black is such a great thing. It lets you see the future and pasts, which is like a mechanic that just doesn't use. Imagine they saw basically part of what the father and him did abroad, or part of the cult, or something like the summoning of the black for the first time, or the poverty that Dover was suffering. They could really use it for exposition, and they just doesn't give you anything. It's like, come on, it could have been so good.
Yeah, well, the thing is that it's so highly addictive, and no matter what you see through it, it's got so many setbacks that you're gonna have afterwards that I don't know if it's worth it at the state it's presented mechanically. You use it on a player because you're effectively putting them out of service.
Yeah, I mean, it does go into depth about like rehab and gold turkey and all the rest of it, but I mean, the students are still functioning and they're taking it. I mean, I think it's only if you try and go cold turkey and come off it straight away. That's something you can do in downtime. I would still allow the player to function. Just I'd make them indefinitely insane straight away, no matter what. And but see if Roger says, "Do you want to see the future?" And then maybe he spikes a drink or something, and then they start freaking out as they see their dead mother or something like that. Could be a lot of fun to be had with the black. And that's the thing about this scenario, it's got all the right sort of beats to it. It's just the keeper just needs to be aware that they can knock this right up to be very spectacular. And it's a fun scenario, basically.
I think it would be, I don't know, better, but maybe smoother if it was run in a modern setting, to be honest.
What's your thinking on that?
Well, with all the current drug problems and all that, could use more effectively. You could have a case more effective.
Okay, just you'd have like counselors and all that sort of thing. Maybe, yeah, that works pretty well. Yeah.
It just feels more of a modern scenario to me. It fits in every era, but almost every era. But yeah, it just feels more of a modern to me.
Fair enough. Yeah, I guess you'd have phones and mobiles you could steal then, maybe some text back from Rogers and Dover and things like that. Get some backstory that way or exposition. Could also get rumours online and chat rooms and Facebook and all that sort of thing. Yeah, that would probably work quite well.
Well, apart from that, you can even add some even more layers of investigation on it. For example, you could say that they're not selling it as a black, they're selling it cutting cocaine or in any other drug, black tar heroin or anything like that, and
black,
just another layer of investigation in there.
Yeah, black cocaine. That would be interesting. Cut into that. It would be like sort of black salt sort of thing. Yeah, it's got a lot of good potentials with the drug angle. It's just you need to sell it properly. So I guess moving on to the third act. How did you feel the third act went? Or
well, the thing is with the third act that it's gonna be most probably, if you run it as is, a climactic let's run away from here.
Yep.
Because
so we did.
There is a whole warehouse full of cultists, let's call them. Or
the blackheads, should be clear, are basically Dover's minions. They're addicted to the black and they are used to call the black as well, I believe.
Yeah, and I just can't see any reasonable party, let's put it like that.
Yeah.
Head on to a full warehouse of armed people, might I add. They also have guns with them. And they also have some night guns with them. So, and there is also the black, the whole of the mass of the black that is gonna come.
Which is cool as hell, to be honest. Right?
Well, yeah, it is. But what the fuck are we gonna do?
It's got the same problem as good old Galaki. It's like really slow. It's like you can't really run with it. So it's like I think it attacked us and we put the car in reverse. And went nope, and we're out of here. The motives are wrong.
Of the lake, the river, not the lake.
Oh yeah. We push it into the lake, don't we? Yeah. Yeah, I think you were being a little bit nice to us there as a GM.
Well, something had to happen. I mean, the session couldn't just have ended with, we heroically went back into the car and drove away from the warehouse, and that's it.
Well, this is where you could have the night guns, like dive bombing the car and piercing the roof and trying to pull people out of the sort of open it like a tin can and pull people out and things. You can really ramp that up. Again.
I thought about that, but that's a death sentence because
It doesn't
you're gonna
matter.
crash
I mean,
the car.
you could always stop and get out. I mean, they turned up to the bad guys' lair, but pretty much, I mean, it couldn't be more bad guys' lair if it was a super volcano somewhere. It's and this is what comes back to the whole start of, if you were the mob, you'd be the guys looking to kill these guys, to take them out completely. You would be really in the know. You'd get all your guys lined up with Thompsons, and you'd just rake the place with fire, and then you'd go in.
There's clear motive there if you work with a mob that you just wanna, as you said, finish this. But as an investigator, your work is essentially done when you see, oh, they have an army and something supernatural. Okay, let's make it go.
Well, not even that. It's like, if you phoned the police and said, yeah, there's a dodgy guy here making alcohol in this abandoned slaughterhouse, they'd be there in a shop. It doesn't matter if you were lying or not. You'd get them in the building. So yeah, I think the police can be used to solve this. But if you phone the mob and tell them, yeah, your rival's sitting here making this black in this slaughterhouse, if you get enough information from Seamus to know who to contact, or you have an underground contact yourself, a very underused mechanic in Call of Cthulhu, then they'll show up, and again we're back to like 5 guys with Thompson machine guns just raking the place. It evens the odds, and I think even if you got, say, the families of the kids together and said, yeah, do you want to get your pitchforks? We're going to go up here and, take them on. There's lots of ways to get NPCs to solve this, and it's a problem, honestly. So yeah, there's no motive for the players as they stand from the hook to go into this place. You're right.
Yeah, as investigators, you found out what's happening. That's your job.
Yeah, you go, ha, finished, and then you go home. I mean, yeah, you don't really know this kid. I mean, not to put your life on the line, really.
Well, I mean, I think I used him as an ongoing thing. He was Wisconsin Prescott or whatever his name was. I can't really remember it from the first scenario.
Yeah, the Jonathan Prescott, I think it is.
I don't even remember. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously has to be some player buy-in so they can kind of go after that. And I don't know how much any of you brought into him, to be honest.
No, I don't think we did too much. It's very hard to get to players to buy into NPCs unless they have been with them for a while, and Prescott's gone pretty fast. Yeah, I don't know. So, looking at the people who are actually in the actual slaughterhouse, you have, I think, D3 plus 1 blackheads or something like that, who are quite dangerous in themselves. They come with a variety of weapons. Quite a good selection of weapons are given, actually, for people to use. If it was just them,
use the black.
Yeah, if it was just them, I think it would be fine. The way I would run it, if you want to play it from the book's point of view, from investigators, I would have either no one there to begin with, have them enter themselves to investigate, and then attack them with the black goo demon.
Rohit and Black Bones.
Yep. So you've got that coming up, and then you have the arrival of Dover with the Blackheads to basically pincer them into this situation where they've got this thing inside that they're stuck in this place, and now these guys have arrived. They either have to hide inside or run out, or they've got problems to solve, essentially. But then, I mean, it does give you the option of this as well. The black is not exactly on Dover's side, if you don't want it to be. So you could essentially bait them into being attacked by it, or it just like burst out and they'll get scared and run as well. So you're just 5 guys running from this crazy big monster thing. So I think you can do it. You just need to set it up properly, and it kind of works. It's a little bit crowbarred, contrived, sort of. Oh, you got me in a trap, sort of D&D style. But I think the strongest thing is to do is say, you're gangsters, you're part of Seamus' crew, you're basically just hitmen looking for how this thing... You want a sample of the black, you want to know how it's made, you want to know what it does to your clients, and you want to know where it's being made and by who. And they're your sort of like motives to go in to kill Dover, essentially. I mean, it doesn't even give you an option just to wait at his house and kill him, basically. or get him at his house. I mean, then you're just dealing with the night gaunts, really.
Yeah, but I mean, why would you continue investigating or doing anything of the sorts if you kill him on his apartment?
Yeah.
What's-
It's your job is to find out. Well, I mean, yeah, your job's not even really to find out much, really.
Well, it's personal. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why I said that it's all on player buy. But again, in the mafia scenario, it
Yeah.
all falls in pretty nicely. It's just you have a job, just go fucking do it.
Yeah, and then you could have your boss phoning up asking for updates and stuff like that, and really taking you to task. Why haven't you went in, sort of thing, and really like threatening you. Do I need to send round Billy? Oh no, not Billy! No, don't bring Billy into this.
Not Billy.
Exactly. It's like you could probably have the sort of like the wolf type character, the cleaner, to go around and to properly sort it out. Yeah, it could be a lot of fun, and it's got huge potential, man. It's just it needs a little bit of polish to really push it.
Yeah, and as you said, maybe it's not exactly a beginner scenario. Presumably, you went through all the other scenarios and.
Yeah, it's the last one. I would say it's set up much like Crimson Letters. It gives you tools that you can't use or not, and it's setting up in a way that you're not given a lot of in the ways of like rails. It's very free and open, and that strikes me as an intermediate style. And being at the back of the book, fine, I guess that's okay, but it doesn't really give you much of an introduction into that, really.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, yeah. This is the last scenario in this book, and so far, none of them have been very beginner friendly. I'd be interesting to know if they were actually asked to write beginner scenarios, or it was just packaged as beginner scenarios by Chaosium. I'd definitely say if you want a beginner scenario, Servants of the Lake is probably the easiest to run. This one's probably the hardest to run, but I think this one has way more potential for a more exciting game than all of them.
Yeah, I'll agree on that, but I will disagree on the hardest scenario. I think the hardest one to run is Ties That Bind.
Oh, are you calling it a scenario?
It's what, yeah.
Yeah.
Some major rework in order to run it.
Yeah, I mean, we were probably a little cruel on that one. It is quite hard to run, though.
I mean, it's not bad. Again, it's not, as I said before, it's not bad, but
yeah.
It's presented in a way that it's definitely not beginner friendly, and
yeah, no one seems to be happy with the start. So I think we're legitimate in saying that it just needs to be cut down a bit and moved to the Hackett's house and things. But anyway, talking about this one, yeah. So overall, would you want to rate this like up against the other five? Where would you put this in order?
I mean, probably second or maybe first, on the same position with Servants of the Lake.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. So what would you be your third place?
I'd have to go with Darkness Under the Hill for third place.
It does have a nice theme to it, the whole descent thing.
And probably tied at fourth place, Ties That Bind and Genius Loci, because they both seem extremely good and, oh, fuck me, I want to run this on the first glance. But when you get into them, or much more catastrophically, when you play through them, you find out that some things just don't work as intended.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. I think I'd put Genius Loci above Ties That Bind, though, just because it's got a better setting. I think I preferred it to Ties That Bind because it was just more interesting with the Danvers Asylum. And from what people seem to be Googling and people's search things for videos, Loki is definitely the most attractive. People really want to run that, I think.
Yeah, it's got a really nice premise, as we've said before, and it seems really nice when you first gloss over it and maybe start preparing for it. Running it, it's a bit chaotic. Best.
So yeah, I think the main problems are of this one at least are it's just not that beginner friendly. I guess I asked for all the other four. Where would you do you think this is better than The Haunting?
Oh, I think it certainly has the potential to be better than the Haunting, and I don't know. I mean, it's
I think it's more interesting than Haunting. The Haunting is quite standard fare. It's got a lot of tropes. It does them well, but it is quite tropey. The Haunting is a better beginner scenario. It's a straight up beginner scenario, but I think this is a better scenario than that when it comes to interest and use of the mythos. If you want to put it that way, the way you use night counts in this can be very, very effective, and it really brings home the sort of Lovecraft element where the Haunting doesn't really do that much. It kind of touches on it with the Church of Contemplation and Corbett himself, but not really.
yeah, it's a more introductory scenario.
Yeah.
But I'll leave it at that. It has the potential to be better, and as is now, is maybe on par with it. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it then. I think we enjoyed this one the most when it came to what you can do with it. Definitely, it's more flexible. If you want a straight up scenario, go for Servants of the Lake. And with that, I'll see you again some other time. Bye.
See ya.